Over the last 22 days, I've been having junk food every single day and I've gone from this to this. 72.7 kg to my lowest at 68.8 kg. Welcome to episode 3 of the Pastry Cut, a 6-week fat loss phase that I'm taking myself through to drop 8 to 10 pounds of body fat over 6 weeks while eating a pastry every single day. I'm doing this as a challenge to prove a point. The fact that no food is off limits when it comes to losing body fat. To remove the fear around things that are high in carbohydrates, high in sugar and high in fats. A pastry is a perfect example of that. Nutritionally, it doesn't really offer you much at all. No protein, no nutrients, no volume, and it doesn't keep you full in the slightest. They're very calorie dense. It doesn't really make sense to have them as part of the fat loss phase. So this is a more extreme approach of you can eat what you want and still lose weight, because there's some underlying factors that most people wouldn't even take into consideration. So over the last 22 days, I've had a mixture of pastries, some of them being 300 to 400 calories and some of them up to 800 calories. Everything from pistachio and almond croissants to pain au chocolat to cinnamon buns to Danish tarts. At this point, pretty much every pastry you could think of. And I'm still 8 pounds down in total. And everything is moving exactly to the plan. The thing with this is it sounds easy, but it's actually really hard. Of course, I get to enjoy pastry every day. That's a very nice moment of my day. I enjoy it. But the things that come around it is quite challenging. My deficit calories are about 2,000 to 2,100 and I need to take 600 away from them to include the pastry. So my meals can only max out at 1,500, which makes it a little bit harder to hit a protein goal, and that's taken a slight hit. It makes it harder to stay full and eat higher volume things, and there is no wiggle room whatsoever outside of having that pastry. I've had the same meals on repeat for the last 3 weeks. There's a bunch of things that obviously you have to say no to, and a lot of the time, I'm getting hungry. These are all very normal things as part of a calorie deficit, and that's why you want to see a fat loss phase is get in, get it done, and get out the other side. That's why I'm only doing this for 6 weeks. Obviously, my starting position was all relatively fairly lean. Still a little bit fluffy, a little bit of body fat that I didn't want to have. But I didn't have loads of body fat to lose, hence why it could be 6 weeks. Why I could go in a little bit more aggressively for a short period of time and get it done. So we're now 3 weeks in and I just spent a weekend away for the bank holiday. I was in Cornwall for the weekend, I didn't track a single calorie, I was eating out, I had pizza, I had a few pints, I had a curry, I had 2 lunches out. And I know that contradicts what I just said about getting in, getting out, sacrifices, it being difficult. This was 3 days out of what's going to be around 50 days of this journey. And the difference is knowing that that was coming up 3 weeks in advance and planning around it. This is what has to be done when you're in a fat loss phase. You can't have sporadic things happening all of the time. You can't have lots of distractions. You can't say yes to everyone. So that weekend away is going to be the only couple of untracked days out of a 6-week phase. My next weekend away, I'm going to track calories. I'm not going to have an alcoholic drink and I can't just eat whatever I want. So after the weekend that's just gone, my weight went up by 1 kilo, but I know obviously it's not body fat and it's going to come down probably tomorrow or the next day. Going into the next 3 weeks, I'm going to make an adjustments to bring the calories down slightly further by around 100 a day, to go a little bit more aggressively with the approach, knowing that it's just 3 more weeks. My steps are going to stay around the same because I don't want to do both at the same time and just make it unnecessarily really hard for myself. And with doing this, I should see more downward trends and another step in the right direction with dropping a bit more body fat. I've got the week 1 and the week 2 update also on my page if you want to go back and look at them, and you can see how I've planned things out along the journey with calculating the calorie deficit, with understanding the targets and what I'm focusing on. And then next week you'll see the week 4 update where we'll probably see another new low and things continuing to go where we want them to go. So if you're interested in this journey, me eating junk food, high carbs, high sugar every single day in the form of a pastry and still dropping body fat, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss one of these updates. I appreciate you watching and I hope you enjoyed.